At the foot of a little hill, a fairy lay on his back in the grass, hands behind his head, enjoying the warm summer night. This was Puck, a servant to Oberon, the fairy king. Puck heard something in the trees behind him, and turned his head to look. A pretty young fairy flew down from the trees and landed on the grass.
And where are you going?
Puck called out lazily. The fairy looked at him, surprised.
Titania, a fairy queen, can't kiss tonight.
She said,
I must get all the flowers ready for her.
What?
Puck sat up quickly.
But the king is coming here tonight as well. He is furious with the queen because she won't let him take her new servant's boy.
Yes, I know. That the lovely little boy that the queen bring back from India.
The fairy said,
With him all day. The boy's mother was the queen prince in India, but the mother died when the boy was born.
Well, Oberon wants the boy, and the queen won't let him go.
Said Puck.
They argue about it night and day.
The fairy was staring closely at Puck.
You're Puck, aren't you?
She said,
That mischievous spirit who's always making trouble. You fighting young woman in the very first. You stop the milk from turning into butter, and you make people lose their way in the night.
Puck laughed. It was all true. He loved to go around at night, making trouble and making Oberon laugh.
Ah, Titania,
Said Oberon, with a most unpleasant smile.
what an unwelcome meeting.
My jealous husband.
Said Titania. She turned her back on Oberon.
Huh? Where's Moscow? I don't want to be near him.
Not so fast.
Said Oberon, taking Titania's arm.
I'm your husband, and you should do what I say.
Titania pushed Oberon's hand from her arm.
Then I'm your wife, and you should love only me.
She said angrily.
But I know all about your journeys out of fairyland to see your loving Vander. I'm used to her singing love songs. And why are you here now? Because Hippolyta, who you love, is marrying Theseus.
Don't talk about Hippolyta like that.
Cried Oberon.
I know all about you and Theseus. You are always stealing him away from the woman he loves.
Titania laughed.
These are lies made by your jealous. Since early summer, every time my friends and I have met to dance for the rain, you have come and argued with us.
Oberon moved closer to Titania and spoke softly.
Then you must make things better. Why do you want to fight your loving Oberon? All I ask is that little boy from my servant.
I will don't give you the children for all of Larian.
Said Titania. She turned away and sat on the low branch of a tree.
His mother was my friend, and that is why I keep him with me, and why I will not let him go.
How long will you stay in the forest?
Oberon asked. There were little golden yellow flowers in the queen's long black hair. She took a flower from her hair and threw it to Oberon. He caught it in his hand.
Perhaps until after Theseus' wedding day.
Said Titania.
Why don't you come and dance with us and watch our moonlight celebration?
Give me that boy, and I will,
said Oberon.
No, not for all your fairyland.
Titania turned away.
Go. We will go on arguing if I stay.
Titania and her fairies flew away into the forest, their white lights dancing through the trees. Oberon stared after her.
I will make trouble for her for less.
He said to himself. He turned to Puck, who had come out from behind his tree.
Come here, Puck,
said Oberon. He put his arm around Puck's shoulders.
I showed you once, you remember, a little purple flower. It has a magic juice. When you put the juice on the eyes of a man or woman as they sleep, it makes them feel in love with the next thing they see. Fetch me that magic flower, Puck, and do it quickly. I'll be around the world and back in 40 minutes,
said Puck, and he disappeared into the treetops. Oberon smiled to himself. He would put some of this magic juice in Titania's eyes while she was sleeping. Then when she woke up, she would fall in love with the next thing she saw, lion or dog or horse.
I can use another flower juice to take the magic away.
He said to himself.
But before I do, I will make her give me her little servant boy.
Demetrius ran to the foot of the little hill, followed closely by Helena. He turned around angrily towards her.
I don't love you,
he shouted.
So don't follow me. Where are Lysander and Hermelia? You told me let run away into the forest. Now go away and stop following me.
Helena had run after Demetrius all the way from Athens, and now she fell to the ground and put her head on his feet.
I don't care if you don't love me, Demetrius, but please let me go with you.
Demetrius shook her from his feet.
You make me sick. I hope wild animals can come and take you away.
How can you be so unkind?
said Helena, as Demetrius turned and left.
Go on, then run. I will follow. Love you so much. I don't care if you kill me.
She ran after Demetrius into the trees. Oberon watched her go.
Poor girl,
he said. A shadow passed across the moon, and Puck flew down to the ground. He opened his hand and showed Oberon some small purple flowers.
Give them to me, Puck,
said Oberon.
I know a place in the forest where the sweetest wildflowers grow. Titania sleeps there some of the night. I shall find her and put the juice of the flower on her eyes.
He laughed to himself and gave one of the flowers back to Puck.
You take some of the juice too. A sweet Athenian lady in the forest is in love with a cruel young man. Put some of the juice in the man's eyes when he is sleeping. But be sure that the first thing he sees when he wakes up will be this woman. You will know the man because of his Athenian clothes. Do it well, then meet me before the sun comes up. Moon above us shines so bright. Let us sing a sweet good night.
Oberon, on the edge of the clearing, watched as the fairies sang Titania to sleep. When the music ended, they went away, and he came closer. One fairy servant had stayed to watch over the queen, but when she looked up, he blew in her eyes, and at once she fell asleep. Oberon went silently up to Titania and touched her face. Then he pressed the purple flower in his hand, so that drops of juice fell onto her eyes. Small silver light danced across the fairy queen's head, and Oberon sang softly.
When you wake, your eyes will change. You will fall in love with something strange.
Aubrey was gone as quickly as he had come, and a moment later, Lysander and Hermia walked into the clearing. Lysander looked around worried. Hermia, you're tired, and I'm not sure where we are anymore. Let's lay down for a bit and wait for morning,
I will sleep here.
said Hermia.
There is some nice soft grass just here.
She lay down on her side, made her comfortable, and closed her eyes. He said, but she pushed him away.
Now, Lucinda, go and lie over there, not near me.
Oh, sweetest, he said, putting his hand on her arm. I only want to sleep here beside you, I promise. Hermia laughed, moving his hand away.
Lucinda, we're not married. We can stay next to each other.
He smiled and sighed. Then he moved away from Hermia and lay down. I will sleep over here then. Good night, Hermia,
Sleep well.
said Hermia, her eyes already closing. The lovers slept. A little while later, Puck arrived in the clearing. He had gone all through the forest looking for a man in Athenian clothes, but found nobody. Now, stepping quietly across the grassy clearing, he saw two people sleeping on the ground.
This must be the man from Athens that Aubrey was talking about.
Puck said.
And here's the sweet lady who he's so cruel to. Poor thing, lying on the dirty ground, afraid to go near him.
Puck took out the purple flower and held it over Lysander, letting its juice fall into his eyes. A silver light moving across Lysander's face. Puck whispered,
You will wake with love that's deep, love that keeps you from your sleep.
Puck turned and hurried quickly away through the trees. But only one moment later, there were voices in that part of the forest once more, and Demetrius arrived in the clearing, followed closely by Helena. Helena was exhausted. She fell to the ground, taking Demetrius' arm and pulling on it.
Please don't go, Demetrius.
She cried.
Leave me alone.
He said, shaking himself free.
I don't care what happens to you.
He ran on, and Helena lay on the ground crying. What had she ever through that Demetrius could love her? What had she followed him here? Then, through her tears, she saw Lysander lying on the grass.
Lysander,
She cried.
are you alright? Are you hurt?
She shook his shoulders.
Lysander, wake up.
Lysander opened his eyes, saw Helena, and at once his face lit up with love. He sat up, unable to take his eyes away from her. Helena! He cried. Helena, I'd do anything for you. He remembered Demetrius and looked around. Where is Demetrius? I will kill him,
Lysander,
Helena said.
don't be so angry with him. Just because he loves Hermia, Hermia still loves you.
Hermia, said Lysander, taking Helena's hand. I don't care about her anymore. It is you that I love, Helena. Helena pulled her hand away furiously.
Why are you making fun of me?
She shouted.
I thought you were a good man, Lysander. How can you lie at me like this?
With that, Helena turned and ran away into the forest after Demetrius. Lysander looked at Hermia, sleeping on the ground. Then he got up and followed Helena. A little later, Hermia woke from a terrible dream. She cried, sitting up. She looked across the ground where he had been asleep.
Where are you?
She shouted, terrified.
Lucinda, where are you?
And she ran away into the forest.